Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about my experience with the Prusa MK4S printer. I bought this printer maybe 1.5 years ago or something like that as a kit, and I assembled the printer. At that time it was the Prusa MK4. At a later stage I upgraded to the S version, MK4S upgrade, and did that. Now I have approximately 1,000 hours of use on this printer, and I wanted to share my experience on how things have been going. So first I want to show you just a little bit of the specs of the printer. So here's the print bed, and the size is 250 by 210 millimeters, and the height is 220 millimeters. And this comes with a removable sheet, like a flexible sheet, and I have several sheets that I bought. It came with this nice drawing when I got the printer on the print sheet. This is a PI sheet. I also have the textured PI sheet, and like for this sheet, the PI sticker sheet, I use for PLA, and for this texture sheet I use for patchy and flexibles and several other filament types that work on this sheet. I also got this sheet for polypropylene, and that works as well for polycarbonates and some blends, so it works for several types of filament. And then I got the nylon sheet to use with nylon or PA prints. So I have these several sheets of different types to print out different things on the printer. So a good experience with different materials. On the extruder, it's a next extruder from Prusa, and it's very easy to change the nozzles. I have several types of nozzles, both in size and hardened nozzle and high flow nozzles. I've been experimenting with different types of nozzles, and I'm making videos on strength of filaments depending on nozzle size and such. So I've been doing some experiments with different nozzle sizes. And I also have the hardened nozzle and the high flow nozzles, also the hardened high flow. So I pretty much can print everything I need with this printer. It has this two spool holder on the top with a guide. You see here on the top, you feed the filament through here so it doesn't get tangled. So here's the menu. So most of you are probably familiar with the Prusa lines, but this is a Cartesian style printer, and you can get an enclosure for it if you need to print filaments that require enclosure. And you could also get a MMU unit for multi-material unit that can do 5 different materials or colors. You mount that here on the top, but I don't have that one for this printer. So this is basically the printer and the print sheets and the nozzles I have. So I've been printing with this printer for approximately 1,000 hours now, like I said in the beginning, and it has been a very good experience. I have at 2 points of time a clogged nozzle with a carbon fiber filament was on the THC nozzle, the high flow nozzle with 0.4 millimeter. Maybe that's not the best nozzle for carbon fiber filament, so I blame it mostly on myself. But also I was printing some glitter filament and got a clogged nozzle with that at one point of time. It was on the high flow nozzle, and the nozzle is like split in 3 channels inside, so it's difficult to get a clog out of it. But I think I can't use one of those nozzles again. The nozzle that got stuck with the carbon filament, I managed to clean it out, but the normal one with the glitter filament, it got completely stuck, and I was unable to use it anymore. But that's part of the business, I guess, to get clogged nozzles. So I got a lot of spares and different types and different diameters. I printed a lot of things with this printer on all kinds of materials. I printed like PLA, patchy, PCTG, I print some nylon with carbon fiber, polypropylene, and PC blend from Prusa, polycarbonate blend, and ASA and ABS. So I wanted to show you some prints. It's like this one. This is an ABS print that had no issue printing. I'm gonna switch over here. So with this ABS print, I didn't have any issues. It's like people say, if you're going to print ABS, you need the enclosure, but that really depends on the model and the size of the model. So for something like this, it was no issue printing without an enclosure. Same here with the ASA print. This came out great. It's a smaller print and doesn't require an enclosure to get this print done. So that was not an issue. Here's a print with PCTD, and that was no issue as well. Here I had some testing with PC blend from Prusa, and here you can see there are some splitting issues. This is because I didn't have the enclosure. So for this material it was difficult to print this model, but I printed the same model with a PC blend carbon fiber, and that came out with any issues. So it depends on the material, and with the carbon fiber it is most unlikely to warp and have issues. So this came out beautifully. Also printed this with polypropylene carbon fiber, and no issues, and very beautiful print. So it was proved that you can print engineering filament on this printer, even though it doesn't have an enclosure. But some filament like this PC blend without carbon fiber have these splitting issues. So you just have to be aware where not every filament works and not every model works. But like ABS print came out great, but I bet if I would try this model with ABS, it would split as well. So it depends on the model and the size of the model and such. Here's an example of a PLA print, the robot Parka, or what's its name, and it came out great, no issues with this. I've also printed out this tolerance test from Maker's Muse, and 0.15 came loose, so it was very good tolerance on this printer, so no issues with this. I also printed this Christmas tolerance test from Maker's Muse, and it came out great, no issues with the overhangs. It's a quite difficult print because all the overhangs and the bed is moving back and forth and has some vibrations. It's very fiddly print, so not every printer can print this without issues, but this came out great. And then I printed the Prusa rocket, and that came out great, no issues. So you can see how that came out, no issues on that. This is a little bit of a glitter filament from Buddy 3D, so you can see a little bit of glitter, but this came out great. So regarding maintenance on the printer, basically all I've done is change nozzles when I need to, and I've made some lubrications on the smooth rods and the threaded rods. Because I have cats, a lot of cat hair is flying around everywhere, and I regularly have to remove the cat hair from the smooth rods because it gets stuck in the oil. So that's just a normal operation to clean out the cat hair from my printers. I can't escape that. Like I said, I made the upgrade from the Prusa MK4 to the MK4S printer, and that process went fine. When I initially made the kit, I had two alignment issues. When I first installed the bearings on the bed, it was a quite finicky position for the bearings to be in a correct place, for the y-axis to move in a decent amount of back and forth, and I had to move the bearings a little bit when I did the calibrations, but that was assembly issue on my part. But other than that, the assembly process was quite good process. I spent a good part of a Saturday and like a half a Sunday doing it in just a relaxed environment, nothing in a hurry. So it took maybe 6 to 8 hours in total to assemble the printer, and the MK4S upgrade took me maybe 1.5 hours. Just doing it, not taking any video of it or anything like that, just doing it in my own time. So that has been the process. I connected the printer to my Wi-Fi, and I'm using Prusa Connect from my slicer to print. I also have used Prusa Link to directly print to the printer. By that, you don't need to go to the cloud with the printer if you don't want to. You can also just use a USB stick to print from that, but you can also just connect the printer with a LAN connection, like a wired connection to your network, and don't use the Wi-Fi. So you have a lot of connection options for this printer, and if you want to use the Prusa Connect, you can, but you absolutely don't need to if you don't want to. I find it convenient to use it, but Prusa Link connection is working just as fine. I had at 1 or 2 times issues with Prusa Connect. It was not logging in, or the printer was not showing up in the Prusa Connect. I waited a few hours, restarted, and it did not work, but after a few hours it suddenly started to work. I was reading online, there were some errors, issues with Prusa Connect backend. I think there was some overloaded or something like that, but at that time I just used Prusa Link to print, so it didn't affect me so much to switch over to the Prusa Link connection. I've set up profiles in the Prusa slicer for the different nozzle sizes, and it's very easy to just select the correct nozzle size, and there you have a printer profile with that nozzle. And I haven't played around with the printer profile as such, it just works for me. It's been a good experience with the Prusa slicer and the Prusa Connect and the printer. It's a very good ecosystem. When I was assembling the printer and had the alignment issues with the Y carriage or the bed, I connected Prusa support to get some ideas on what was going on, and they were really helpful and guided me through the process of checking if the bearings were in good position. So I've had good support from Prusa, and they are really great support. So when you buy a Prusa printer, it's like you're not just buying a printer, you're buying into an ecosystem, like with all the print surfaces and nozzles, option to have the MMU unit or the enclosure and whatnot. It's like the printer is just the start of it. So with the service and the software and web software and all that, it's a really good experience, I think. So I would highly recommend this printer for everybody that wants to get into 3D printing. It's a really good printer, and I hardly ever have any issues with the prints itself. If I had made mistakes, of course, like selecting PLA profile with the patchy loaded or something like that, but that's user error, and everybody has done something like that. But if you have selected the correct material and start the print, it usually finishes without issues. The first layer is always really good because of the extruder sensing the bed before each print, and it's a very good, reliable print head, I would say. So this has been my experience with the Prusa MK4S printer. I'm really happy with the printer and the ecosystem. I would recommend this printer for anybody that wants to get into 3D printing. You don't have to get a very big printer to start with, and the bed is not maybe, like would say, small to medium size compared to printers that you can have today. But if you don't need to print big, then this printer is for you, I think. I would recommend it. But if you want to check out more of the specs and such and the pricing, and then I have links in the description. It's like a affiliate link, so if you buy a printer, I get a little bit of kickback, but it's no cost to you, but it helps the channel. So I would really appreciate that if you're going to buy this printer or any Prusa materials or any other Prusa products, to use my links. But I think for this video, this is going to be it. I'm really happy with this printer, like I said, and I would recommend it. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.